Okay, so in this video, we're just gonna, or in this lesson, we're gonna walk through the power of any dollars, and this is something that you fundamentally just need to understand in order to present this and portray the value to the customer and remove all the objection that you're going to get in the closing process about the value that you present to your customer. So I'm going to go ahead and take a moment and share my screen here. And first thing I want to do is jump into an explosion brochure. So most I shouldn't say most. Everybody needs to use an explosion brochure. Here's why. Because it explodes the value out of using super concentrated products. What you'll find is if you walk through other courses throughout this university, you'll know that super concentrates add value. And the reason they add value is because consumers like you and I aren't going to the store and buying one use or single use plastic bottles at a time, right? We're using super concentrate. We're making our own soap, and we're going to walk through that a little bit today. There's some power in any dollars, and here's how it works. The value that you see in the middle of the explosion brochure, in this particular case, you'll see $9,570. First of all, this is irrefutable math, right? So if somebody would ask me, how do you come up with this? I would love to have the conversation and clearly articulate how we come up with it, but I'm going to do my best to explain it right now. Let's pick on glass cleaning for an example. This $9,570 program comes with 2 liters of glass cleaner. That is 2 bottles of concentrate. So you'll hear me and my team talk a lot about the inner circle and the outer circle of an explosion brochure. The inner circle of the explosion brochure includes all of what I call the units of soap. These are the units of super concentrate. And those super concentrate bottles explode out and make the amount of products that are on the outside of the circle. Okay, so again, let's go pick on glass cleaner for a second. 1 liter of glass cleaner makes 128 bottles of glass cleaner. So put yourself in the position of walking into a store, Walmart, Target, Publix, Kroger, doesn't matter what the chain is. You're walking in and you need glass cleaner. You're going to go to the cleaning aisle. You're going to buy a bottle of glass cleaner. Now I want you to answer this question for yourself. What do you think you would spend? Probably depends on a lot of where you're shopping, right? But in our case, the way that we come up with this money or this value in the middle is based on the money you would spend on one bottle. In our case, it's $7. Okay. So we know that one bottle of concentrate makes 128 $7 bottles. You got to do the math. 128 times 7, come up with the math. But we give out 2 units of soap that make 256 glass cleaner bottles. I'm going to go down here and pick on foaming hand and body soap for a second. In this example, in the 9570 program, we give away 3 units of soap. So 3 liters of foaming hand and body soap. Each liter makes 64 ready-to-use bottles. Now, put yourself back in the consumer shoes. You're walking into Bath and Body Works, excuse me, I get the 2 confused. You're walking into Bath and Body Works. You go in there and you know they got the little bougie bottles of soap. They have holiday scents, they have seasonal scents, they have their everyday scents, whatever. What do you think you're spending on that bottle of soap? Sometimes it's 12, sometimes it's 15. You might walk in and buy a $5 thing of Dial at Walmart, right? It really doesn't matter. But the way that we come up with the math, the 9570, is we know that one bottle of foaming hand and body soap, 1 unit, 1 liter of super concentrate makes 64. So by the time you take 3 units, you times that by the dilution rate, which is 64 bottles out of 1 liter, it makes 192 bottles. Well, in our case, I want to jump to this for a second. If we go to our website, which is naturalvisions360.com, and we look at that bottle of soap, we charge $9 for this bottle of soap. Now that's in comparison to what you would spend for the quality of product that we offer and we manufacture in any other retailer across the country, right? But going back to the explosion brochure, that's how we come up with this value. And it's super critical that you guys understand this so that you have conviction and you have authority in the conversation with your customer. Whether we like it or not, yourself, myself, my family, your family, we're walking into stores each and every week, month, quarter, year, and we're buying the products that are in the soap program. We're buying laundry detergent, we're buying dish soap, we're buying hand soap, we're buying shampoos, we're buying bar soaps, we're buying sink soap, we're buying dish soap, we're buying multi-purpose cleaner, we're buying it. right? And so that's why we come up with this value and this savings of 95.70. Now, if you look at the entirety of the Natural Visions program, we offer 4 different programs. We offer, and there's different delivery mechanisms on this. That's not the tone of this conversation, but in the quartz program, we offer a 3-year, which has an anyway dollar value of 41.66. We offer a 5-year, that's the one that I was talking about in this video, 95.70. We offer a 7, 13,550, and we offer a 10-year for 20,556. The way that we get there is through the units of soap that we provide on the inner circle. So it's critical that you understand that, but more importantly, you got to understand the value of anyway dollars. The value of anyway dollars comes through how many products does this one bottle of concentrate make? And in the foaming hand and body conversation, we already know that it makes 64 ready-to-use bottles. And 64 ready-to-use bottles, if you go to our site and you take 64 times 9 and then times it by 3, because we give them 3 bottles during the course of the program, that's why this is super critical. Now, I want to touch base on something else. When you look at the delivery mechanism of the program, yes, we only charge $24 for a quart of product, right? Because that's in line with what other programs or other concentrated products in the marketplace are charging for a liter or a quart of product. Now, there's a lot of conversation that needs to go around on that. But irrefutably, this soap program offers a savings of $9,570. And the way that we get there is through a multitude of different ways. I want to touch on that real fast. Right now, us as consumers are literally paying for about 10% of what we're actually buying. Okay? And here's the reason why. We're getting retailed to death. And why I say that is, take a retailer in the country. It doesn't matter. Walmart, Target, there's a list of them, right? How many times do you see their advertising? Does that cost money? If you take a product to retail, you often have middlemen and brokers involved. Do you think that costs money? There's also overhead and packaging. Who stocks the shelves when the shelves get low? Who's paying for the utilities of the Walmart or Target, right? The lights to go on, the employees in the store, the utilities, the gas bills, the insurance, the taxes of the building, so on and so forth. We already know that you're paying for water, right? And the water is not cheap to ship around the country. And the also thing that we know is that Walmart and Target want to make money. So who do you think is actually paying for that? For all that cost in the middle of everything before you actually get to the product, us as consumers are paying for the labor and the overhead, right? Somebody has to pay for it. And I promise you, it's not Walmart and Target. It's us as the consumer. So there's another thing that we get into in another video, but I want to touch base on this. We are a factory direct model. It's called anyway dollars. We're stripping all that money out that they're going to spend anyway on the distribution of water-based products, the retail overhead, the retail labor, all those things. And we're going to a factory direct model. That's why we can sell it at the prices we sell it, but offer the same amount of value and savings to your customer. Hence, anyway dollars. Forever dispensers. Every time you go to buy a bottle of product at the store and you're done with it and you get to the last little drop in that bottle, where do you think that bottle goes? It goes in the trash. And us as a consumer, we go back to the store and we buy what? Another bottle. So what do you think we're paying for? Everything that I just went through on the last slide, right? But we're also paying for the packaging again, the plastic, the labels, the juice that's in it, the water again, all those sort of things. So we use forever dispensers so that you can fill your concentrate up to the star line on the back of the product, or the back of the dispenser bottle. And that's why super concentrates work. So I want to touch base on one more thing. This might be the most powerful thing you can do inside the home. This is a foaming hand and body. This is an 8-ounce foaming bottle. Very comparative to what you would find in stores, right? We don't sell, you've never seen really a hand soap bottle unless you're in an industrial place where the bottle is 64 ounces, right? It's typically small. It sits on the bathroom counter or the kitchen sink or wherever, right? So it's an 8-ounce foaming bottle. We charge $9 for that. I believe that that is a comparative price. But again, one bottle, 1 liter of concentrate makes 64 of these things. So take 64 times 9, and then whatever program you're on that's how much value would go into the inner circle. But let me get back to the point here. You see this red stuff down at the bottom. That's the actual soap that you're actually paying for as a customer. And why I say this might be the best closing tool that we have is because when people take this into homes and they show them that this is exactly what you're paying for as a customer and you fill this bottle up for them, they have this aha moment that says, oh, now I get it. I'm paying for everything else and about that much soap. So what do you think happens when this 8-ounce bottle goes away? In most cases, it goes where? Right into the garbage, right? So anyway, dollars is super powerful, but you also have to understand the value of it comes from this right here, the explosion brochure. The units of soap in the inner circle make this many bottles on the outside of the circle, and that's where we come up with anyway dollars. The better that you get at explaining this with authenticity and conviction to your customers and your prospects, the better off you're going to be. Hope this helps you. Look forward to you watching the rest of the curriculum and the course here. If you guys have any questions, you know how to find me. Thank you.